Peace, family. Today we're going to be talking about mental software. All right. Now, if you're somebody that loves personal development and law of attraction and all things in between, you're going to love this channel. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all things in between. For the subscribers, make sure to hit the notification bell so you're alerted every time I post a new video. All right. So let's talk about mental software. Today we're going to be talking about updates and patches. Man, it's going to touch on this, man, because I do have like a computer engineering background. So the concept of like mental software is just like really interesting to me. All right. So let's take a deeper dive. Right. So what are updates and patches? So traditionally, like when you hear about like updates and patches, we're used to it relating to like devices, like computers, phones, tablets, things like that. And these things get ongoing updates, right, to improve the system, to improve vulnerabilities and whatever it may be. Okay. Now it's funny, like, so when I used to work in corporate, one of my first jobs out of college was like a junior system administrator. So every week we would have to do updates and patches to the system to update like new security patches that update different vulnerabilities. So there's different types of updates and patches, I should say. So like there's security, it fixes like critical and vulnerabilities. There's bug fixes like routine errors, and then also like feature updates as well. Okay, so this is what this dates back to, because I actually remember having to do this. And people that work in tech, they understand this, right? Because it's something that you have to constantly be aware of, because tech is always evolving. So there's always new updates and patches that you have to do. Now, how does this relate? Okay. Now, this is interesting. I want to point out, when you look up the definition of what a patch is, right? It says a set of changes to a software program designed to update, fix, or improve it. A set of changes to a software program designed to update, fix, or improve it. Okay. Now, here's the thing. This is what we really need to do when it comes to our mental software. Okay. Now, here's our purpose. Primarily to fix. What's the purpose of these patches? Primarily to fix security flaws to prevent malware/ransomware, but also to resolve bugs and enhance functionality. Why is this important? This is important because this is exactly what we need to do to our mindset. Okay? This is exactly what we need to do to our mindset. All right? Now, your mental software is composed of the thoughts that you have, your beliefs, your habits, your behaviors, your standards, right? All of these things build and complete what is known as your mental software. Okay? Now, all of these things ultimately create what's known as your operating system, how you operate as who you are. Right? Your software determines how you operate. So this is why, like, for example, we see this in computers. Like you have Mac OS, that's the operating system. Okay. And then Mac OS has different software programs on top of that operating system. It's the same thing with your phone. Your phone has iOS, it's the iPhone operating system. And then on top of that, there's different apps, right, that are installed on top of that operating system. Okay. So your identity is your operating system, and your different actions, habits, and behaviors are the different apps, so to say. Okay. Now, here's the problem. Most people are still running on iOS 3, right? What are we even on right now? Like, let me check real quick. I don't even know what iOS we're on. I think we're on let me see, right? But most people are still running on an old software program. Okay, and they're running on an old software program that's representation of an old version of themselves. Okay, so we're on iOS 26. It looks like I don't even have the newest one. Right, I gotta download it. You see what I'm saying? You gotta constantly be up with the updates. All right, but the problem is, like, a lot of people are running on an old program. Okay, and they're running on an old program that was conducive to where they were trying to get to in the past, but may not be conducive to where they're trying to get to now. All right. Now, and this, like, because they're running the same programs, this causes them to attract the same types of things. Right. And maybe like we've all heard of people like they keep attracting like the same type of partner, like the same type of person. And then they're like, oh, I don't know why I keep attracting these type of people. Right. It's because you're running the same program. And that's what you're geared to attract. Right. Now, every time you don't update, you don't patch the behavior, the action, the habit, the characteristic, like, you are choosing the old identity. Right? When you decide not to patch or update it, you're reinforcing the old identity. Okay? Now, another way you could look at this, another way you could look at the patches and the updates is like a patch really is like a non-negotiable change. Okay? It is a non-negotiable change. And an update is like an identity shift. Okay? A patch is a non-negotiable change, and an update is an identity shift. Okay? Not behavior, but identity. Right? Now, what's the solution to this? The solution is you have to sit down and be intentional with your updates and your patches. Okay? And this is where repetition comes into play, because that's the thing with updates and patches, is they're ongoing. It never ends. It never stops. Software is always being updated. Programs are always being updated because tech is always changing. So this is where things like journaling are important. Things like sitting down and having like that conversation with yourself. This is something that I've been doing daily, actually, and it really helps, right? So journaling, and then also even like a separate section of your journaling session that is very intentional on personal development. Okay? Because the thing is, now you get clear on what the updates and the patches need to be. Because that's another important step, is like, maybe you know that you need to improve, but you don't know like what the update and the patch needs to be. Okay? But sitting down and just like being silent and being intentional and getting rid of the distractions for a few minutes really goes a long way. Like, solitude in the history of mankind has always led to evolution in some ways, shape, or fashion, right? Because now you're alone with your thoughts, God, and the universe. Right? So having those periods of solitude with no distractions is very important. Right? Now, the last important step to this with the update and the patch is honoring it and making it your duty to live by it, right? Because you can have an update and a patch that says, all right, I'm going to go to the gym. Let's say the average person's like, I want to go to the gym at 4 days a week, right? So, okay, this patch was made, this update was made April 13th, XYZ, boom. Okay, so moving forward, it's 4 days a week. It's like, now you have to abide by that. That's where like keeping your word becomes like the next important thing. It's like, now you have to do it. And that's the step that a lot of people struggle with sometimes, is actually living in alignment and conscious congruency. Conscious congruency is like, there's different pieces to this puzzle, right? And each piece is important in its own right, but once you understand it, you understand it. And I'm doing my best to help y'all understand it, right? But each piece is important, right? Now you apply the patch and the update. You know what the patch and the update is. You're clear on it. You said, all right, this is the day, boom, patch and update is now installed. Now you have to be consciously congruent, because when the time comes for you to actually live in alignment with that and live congruent with that identity, now you have to be a person of your word. It's like, I committed to this patch and this update. It's almost like you don't even have to have the dialogue with yourself. I think a lot of times people, this is another video, I'll probably do it now. Stop negotiating with yourself. Like, stop going through this back and forth in your head. Like, you don't have to have this dialogue with yourself. Make the decision. It's like, all right, the decision is made. This is what it is. A lot of people get closed by themselves. A lot of people get closed by their lower version of themselves. Stop letting them close you. This is another video, so I'm gonna end it here. Guys, gals, whoever is watching, don't just update your device. Don't just update your phone. Don't just update your computer, your TV, your gaming system. Update your mindset, your beliefs, your habits. Update those things too, because those things are more important. Peace, love, and abundance. MJ the Mastermind checking out.